Lesson number 9, Al-Ajurrumiyyah. In the previous lesson, we have seen the Jawazim and we gave examples of grammatical governors that did the government Amal of Jazm. Here, Sheikh Ibn Ajurrum in this section will talk about the Marfu'at. Babu Marfu'at al-Ismaء. This is the section on the marfuat of the nouns. Marfuat as regards the nouns in English is called the nominative. So this is the section on the nouns that are in the nominative case. Al marfuatu sab'atun. The marfuat, those nouns that are in the nominative case are 7. وهي, and they are, again here is a feminine singular referring to an inanimate plural, and they are al-fa'ilu, the doer of the verb, wal-maf'ulu alladhi lam yusamma fa'iluhu. This is perhaps better known as naibul fa'il, the representative of the fa'il, which is simply the subject of a passive verb. Is called either naibul fa'il in Arabic, or as Ibn Ajurrum calls it, al-maf'ulu alladhi lam yusamma fa'iluhu, the object whose doer is not named. The reason it's called this way is because, as you know, the subject of a passive verb is its subject perhaps grammatically, but not in terms of reality. In terms of reality, it is its object. When you say duribe zaydun, zayd is naibul fa'il, or the subject of the passive verb, but in reality it is Zayd's the object of the action of it, not its subject. So that's why some grammarians call the naibul fa'il al-maf'ul, the object, alladhi, which lam yusamma fa'iluhu, which its fa'il is not named. Alladhi lam yusamma fa'iluhu, this is called silatun jarat li gayri man hiya lahu, because the pronoun in the verb in the jumlatul sila does not go back to the ismul mawsul. Rather, the verb has a direct the verb has a naibul fa'il, which is fa'iluhu. So alladhi, in terms of its meaning, is a sifa for maf'ul, but in terms of actually it talks about the fa'il. So here this kind of construction is called sulatun jarat li gayri man hiya lahu, as when you say, for example, الرجل هو الرجل الذي ذهب ابنه, right? If you said الرجل الذي ذهب, the man who went, that would be a regular sula, to be a regular jumlatul sula, right? But when you say الرجل الذي ذهب ابنه, the man whose son went, there the file of ذهب is not a huwa that goes back to the ismul mawsul, as in the previous instance when we say الرجل الذي ذهب, but rather it has a file, which is what? Ibnuhu, in that example. So that's an example of sulatun jarat li gayri man hiya lahu. So here in lam yusamma fa'ilhu is a sulatun jarat li gayri man hiya lahu, because yusamma does not go back to alladhi, but rather it is a passive verb, and its subject is fa'iluhu, fa'il, the word fa'il, and then the pronoun that links the jumlatul sila to the ismul mawsul is the who, which refers back to the alladhi. So again, the second of the marfuat is al-maf'ul, the object alladhi, which lam yusamma fa'iluhu, its doer is not named. We do not give examples here because Ibn Ajurrum rahimahullah is going to discuss each of these individually, and he will give examples. Wal mubtada, the third is the mubtada, which is the subject, wa khabaruhu, and its predicate, wa ismu kana, and the ism of kana, وأخواتها and the likes of كان. So أخواتها is معطوف upon كان, meaning the ism of كان and ism of the أخوات of كان, the noun of كان. كان, as you know, is a fi'l naqis. It does not have a dur, rather it has a ism and a khabar. That is the kana that is naqisa. There's also kana that is tamme, which means to exist, but that is less frequent usage. In most frequently, kana is used as a naqis verb where it has a ism and a khabar, and likewise its likes. And so here the ism of kana and its likes, meaning naqis verbs that have a ism and a khabar. In these cases, their ism will be in the nominative case. وخبر إن وخواتها, and the khabar of inna, the predicate of inna, وأخواتها, and its likes will be marfu in the nominative case. والتابع للمرفوع, and then the last of the marfuat is those words that follow the marfu. As you know, words in Arabic are either governed bil asale, directly, or bit tabaiyya, or by following. And so those words that are that have a declension, that have a grammatical case, not directly but indirectly, because they follow a word that has such a declension, will have the same declension as the word that they follow. And what are the tawabi? وهو, and they are أربعة أشياء. They are four things. النعت, that is not, which is sifa, adjective. والعطف, the conjunction, or to be more precise, al-ma'tuf, right? That which is in conjunction with another noun will have the same declension as that noun. والتوكيد, and emphasis. والبدل, and apposition. Other grammarians will also list among the tawabi atful bayan, which is very similar to bedel. So then they would consider the tawabi to be 5, but here Ibn Ajurrumiyyah does not list atful bayan. He just lists the other 4: the adjective, the conjunction, the emphasis, and the apposition, and he will discuss each one of them individually. Atul Bayan is very, very similar to Bedel. It's that, you know, there's a word that comes after a word that is more clear or better known to explain the previous word. That's called Atul Bayan. The example of Atul Bayan is Ja'a Abu Hafs Umar. Abu Hafs is the paidonymic of Umar radiallahu anhu, but Umar radiallahu anhu is better known by his name than by his paidonymic. So when we say Ja'a Abu Hafs Umar, Umar is a Atul Bayan that clarifies who Abu Hafs is. So that will be an example of Atul Bayan, but here in this text, Ibn Ajurrumiyyah, as we've seen, does not discuss Atul Bayan and limits his discussion to the other 4 tawabi that are governed not directly but indirectly. Babul Fa'il, this is the section on the door. Al-Fa'ilu huwa al-ismu al-marfu' al-madhkur qablahu fi'luhu. It is the ism, it is the noun that is in the nominative case. Al-madhkur qablahu fi'luhu, the verb of which is mentioned before it. So here this type of adjective is called sifatun jarat li ghayri man hiya lahu. We discussed about slatun jarat li ghayri man hiya lahu. Here we have a sifatun jarat li ghayri man hiya lahu. Al-ism al-marfu al-madhkur qablahu fi'luhu. Al-madhkur in terms of its syntax is an adjective for marfu, but in terms of its reality it refers to the fi'l. So this type of adjective is called what? Sifatun jarat li ghayri man hiya lahu. Sifa, an attribute, an adjective, jarat, that occurs لغير من هي له for other than for something other than that to which it belongs to. So there المذكور in terms of its grammatical role is an adjective for marfu, but really it is describing the fi'l. As you might know that the alif lam or the lam al-tarif in ism al-fa'il and ism al-maf'ul is not a harf but rather an ism. It's an ism al-mawsul. So al-madhkur would be what? الذي ذكر الذي يذكر, right? الاسم المرفوع الذي يذكر قبله فعله, right? The nominative noun before which its verb is mentioned. وهو على قسمين, it is of two types, ظاهر ومضمر. The file, the doer of the verb will either be ظاهر, meaning apparent, ومضمر, or it will be a pronoun. فالظاهر and the apparent نحو is like قولك, your statement, قام زيد, Zayd stood up. So Zayd here is the file that comes after its fi'l, which is the verb قام. Zayd stood up. That was in the passive, that was in the past tense. ويقوم زيد, that is in the present tense or the future, it is the imperfect. ويقوم زيد, Zayd is standing up or will stand up, but the primary meaning of the imperfect is the present tense. وقام الزيداني, the two Zayds stood up. ويقوم الزيداني, and the two Zayds are standing up. So here the subtle point that he is illustrating is that as the file becomes dual or plural, وقام الزيدون ويقوم الزيدون, Zayds stood up, Zayds are standing up. As the file becomes dual or plural, the verb still remains singular because the doer of the verb, the file, is the Zayd in the singular or Zaydan in the dual, and Zaydune in the plural. So we do not make the verb plural as we make the file plural. وقام الرجال ويقوم الرجال, and men stood up and men are standing up. This is an example of broken plural. Zaydune was Cem Muzakker Salim, sound masculine plural. وقامت Hindun, then he gives an example of a feminine noun. وقامت Hindun, Hind, which is a female name, Hind stood up. وتقوم Hindun, and Hind is standing. وقامت الهنداني وتقوم الهنداني, the two Hinds are stood or the two Hinds are standing. وقامت الهندات وتقوم الهندات وقامت الهنود وتقوم الهنود, the Hinds stood up or the Hinds are standing, and the Hinds are standing, and then that there Ibn Ajurrumiyyah used the sound feminine plural, and then next he uses a broken feminine plural when he says قامت الهنود, the Hinds stood up. وتقوم الهنود, the Hinds are standing. وقام أخوك, your brother stood up. ويقوم أخوك, and your brother is standing. وقام غلامي, and my boy or my slave stood. ويقوم غلامي, my boy or my slave is standing. وما أشبه ذلك, and that which resembles that. So here أخوك would be an example of a file where the i'rab is expressed by a letter rather than by a vowel, and because it's from the اسماء الستة or the اسماء الخمسة, which indicate that in their grammatical case with a letter instead of vowel when they're mudaf. وقام غلامي is an example where the i'rab of the file is taqdiri, right, because the ya المتكلم to which gulam is mudaf to necessitates that mim has a kesre, so therefore the damme cannot be said, so the damme will be muqaddar. So that's an example where the file is marfu takdiran with a damme. والمضمر 12 and the pronouns are 12 نحو قولك like your statement ضربت I struck وضربنا we struck وضربت you male struck وضربت you female struck وضربتما you two males or you two females struck وضربتم you all males, 3 or more males struck وضربتن you 3 or more females struck وضرب he struck وضربت she struck وضربا the 2 males struck وضربوا 3 or more males struck وضربنا 3 or more females struck. Notice here that he did not give an example of the feminine third person dual ضربتا. He just sufficed by saying daraba. The reason is that in both daraba and darabeta the file is the same, which is the elif elif al-tahniyah, the elif of the dual pronoun. So that's why he did not mention darabeta and just said daraba. This is the end of lesson number 9 of Ajrumiyyah. Subhaneke Allah'ın bihamdik. Neşhedü en la ilahe illen nestağfiruke ve netubu ileyk. Subhan rabbike rabbil izzeti amma yasifun ve selamun alel murselin. Velhamdülillahi rabbil alemin.